Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I took a break last week to focus on doing some upgrades for my channel. If you can see that cute little icon on the bottom right corner, it's designed and illustrated by my little sister. Her details will be in the description box below if any of you is interested. Today I'll be teaching you guys how to make mochi donuts. They're like two best things joined together to create the ultimate delicious treat. If you're interested in how to make these from scratch, then keep on watching. First, we'll need 100 grams of cake flour and we'll sift it into a large bowl. Then we'll sift in 100 grams of glutinous rice flour. This is the ingredient that gives the donut the bouncy mochi texture. So after that, we'll add in 1 tablespoon of baking powder and mix them together. Then add in 50 grams of caster sugar and mix together again. Now let's prepare another bowl and 120 grams of silken tofu. You can get your hands on these pretty easily in all Asian grocery stores, and I believe Coles and Woolies now sell them too. We'll mash the tofu through the sieve to make sure our donut has a smooth texture. It might seem like the tofu isn't going through the sieve at first, but just hang in there, it'll be worth it. Then we'll add in 1 large egg and mix it together with the tofu mixture. Now let's bring our dry mixture back from earlier and pour in the wet tofu mixture. Mix them together and it will slowly turn into a dough form. We'll add in 20 ml of water to moisten the mixture, then keep on mixing. And now it's time to get our hands dirty and do some kneading. If your dough is too sticky, feel free to add more glutinous rice flour, but not too much. Just enough for the dough to not stick to the bowl. If you're able to lift the dough up nicely, then it is ready. Now let's grab ourselves a baking tray and some baking paper. Cut them into smaller squares, just roughly is fine, because this is not going to be part of our final presentation. And now we'll assemble the donut rings. If you have a kitchen scale at home, it will be a lot easier and more accurate. But if you don't, it's fine as well. Just try your best to roll them into similar sizes. So each little ball should weigh around 5 to 6 grams. The dough shouldn't be sticking to your hand too much. Repeat this step until the donut ring is completed. In terms of the size, I started with 8 and then decided to change to 10 because I wanted a donut to be slightly bigger, but it's totally up to you guys. By the end of this, you'll honestly be the expert of knowing how much 6 grams of dough is. So for this recipe, you should be able to make 7 donut rings. Make sure every one of them are stuck together with the ones next to them, or else your ring may fall apart when we deep fry them. So now it's time for deep frying part. Pour in oil just enough to cover the donut, and then heat oil to around 140 degrees Celsius. When we put the donut into the saucepan, don't forget to use a sieve to help you because you wouldn't want any of the hot oil splash onto your skin. So we'll leave it deep frying for a minute or 2. Then once it's turned slightly golden brown, it is ready for its first flip. After you've flipped it, carefully peel off the layer of baking paper. Then we'll flip it a few more times until the color is even on both sides. After you take it out of the oil, place it on top of a paper towel to get rid of any excess oil. Repeat the deep frying process for the rest of them, and while they're cooling down, we'll move on to the glazing part. We'll need 70 grams of icing sugar, 25 ml of milk, and half teaspoon of vanilla extract. And of course, 1 tablespoon of matcha powder. Then we'll mix them all together until it thickens into kind of like a paste. And for our second glazing, we'll be making yuzu flavor. It is a citrus fruit found commonly in Japan. The same ingredients will be used, except this time we'll replace matcha powder with 1 tablespoon of yuzu jam. You should be able to find these in most Japanese stores. They're so yummy even as a spread on toast for breakfast. So mix until there is no lumps, and it is time to glaze our donuts. The matcha glazing has turned out to be a bit too thin, but that's okay, we'll fix it up later. The yuzu one might look like a normal glazed donut, but trust me, the citrusy flavor is definitely there. So let's just keep glazing the rest of the donuts up. Now this step is optional. If you'd like to add a bit more decoration on top of the mochi donuts, then feel free to do so. Remember how we said we'll fix up the matcha glazing before? I've added more icing sugar into the original glazing, and it's definitely thickened up and darkened in color. So then we're all done. But before we start stuffing ourselves with these cuties, give them a bit of time to cool down and dry. Let's try some together. So since I'm a big fan of matcha, I'll have to do the matcha glaze. As for the yuzu glaze, it's a unique flavor that you won't find anywhere else. Thank you so much for watching again. If you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe and share it with your friends. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!